Hi guys, hopefully you are all doing well. Today it's all about 1176 and the different popular plugins that you might have used. We are going to compare the Waves one against the Slate, the Softube FET, and also my hardware 1176 clone. But before we get into any technicalities, let's have a quick history lesson on how the 1176 came to be. So, the 1176 were created by Bill Putnam in 1967. It is one of the fastest analog compressors ever made, starting at a whopping 0.00002 seconds. It has gone through several revisions, and here is a quick rundown on the differences between the models. The first model, Revision A, is the famous blue stripe compressor, and it differs from the later models in the way that it uses FET transistors in the preamp and line amps. That gives it a lot more harmonic distortion, a bit more mid-forward sound, but also more noise. This practically stayed the same throughout A, B, and the B revisions. The circuit was later then updated and improved and pretty much stayed the same throughout revision C to E. This is known to be the blackface model, which have a lot less noise but also less overall distortion, which can be a good or bad thing depending on what you want to achieve. Revision F and G replaced the Class A preamp in the output section, and that gave it even less harmonic distortion, making it the cleanest sounding 1176. So, my initial ambition was to do this as scientifically as I possibly could, but I quickly realized that it is almost impossible to get accurate readings on the attack and release settings, and you don't know which model the manufacturers used when they did their emulations, and they did probably not use the same unit. So there is simply too many variables, but I did use a signal generator to get a somewhat accurate reading on the gain reduction, and I also did a LUFS reading on each of the phrases so we don't get confused with volume changes. But I did have to tweak the settings by ear, so keep that in mind. In this test, it will be all about vocals. All plugins and hardware will use the all buttons in settings, except the Slate one, which will use 20:1 ratio. I will share the raw files in a downloadable link in my description, and in that folder I will also include a 4:1 ratio test. Okay, that's enough talking, let's get on with the test. So here we have the Pro Tools session. I've already sliced up the tracks. It's kind of hard to do a proper back-to-back comparison, so I really recommend you guys to download the files to compare them in your own DAW. But we'll start with a comparison here with the music, and then we'll move on to another one without any effects or without the music.
I am a seeker of the mind, deep down below the surface scene. I am a seeker of the mind, deep down below the surface scene. Control of things, control
We'll move on to the soloed vocal comparison.
Deep down below the surface scene. 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 I walk the earth, a mindless puppet falling down. I walk the earth, a mindless puppet falling down. I walk the earth, a mindless puppet falling down. I walk the earth, a mindless puppet falling down. Now I'll try to make a difference going down. Now I'll try to make a difference going down. Now I'll try to make a difference going down. Now I'll try to make a difference going down.
So that was the comparison. As you can see here, all plugins except the Slate one uses the all buttons in. The VMR Slate uses 20:1 ratio. But like I said in the introduction, in the downloadable folder, I will also include a 4:1 comparison. Okay, to come to some sort of conclusion, I did think the plugins did a great job. If I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be the Waves one. It just evened out the vocals a tiny bit better. But if you are already in the Slate system, I don't think it really matters. The Slate one sounded awesome as well. The one that I liked the least was the Softube one. It was just a bit too wobbly in the release time. The hardware did the best, especially in the initial attack time, which I always think hardware units exceed if you compare it to a plugin. But really, if you don't track with the hardware compressor, I really don't see the point of going through the process of bouncing things in real time. So the plugins are extremely good, and yeah, that's all for today's episode. If you like this kind of content and want to see more of this, please hit subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you around.